What's up, Zontay family? Yeah, so baby, what we doing today, baby?
So today we are going to talk about our intro video that we finally completed.
That's right. So we will break down, why we chose the different elements that you guys see in the video. You know, with us sitting down as a family, eating dinner, to my wife teaching the kids for homeschooling, to the real estate, and the ending. So let's get started. You ready?
Hey.
So the beginning of the video, you see us sitting down, we're laughing, but more importantly, we're talking as a family. So babe, why do you think it's important for us as a family to sit down at dinner and just have a discussion about our day?
Well, I think it's just important to have discussions, period, as a family. Especially when you have kids. You want to know what they're feeling, how their day went, what was important to them. You want them to feel heard and everything like that. Because I don't want my kids to go outside to learn other things when they can learn it from me or my husband.
That's right.
So.
And also as parents, we don't get everything right.
Right.
So we have discussions about different situations that might have went on that day, and we get feedback from the kids. We talk about different lessons. So it's very important for families to sit down and talk to your kids. Even though our kids are with us 24/7, and
we do everything together.
but it's still those moments are super duper important.
Yeah. So. And I totally agree.
Okay, so we decided to create the Zontay family. Me personally, with us having our other channels, those channels are scripted for the most part. ZZ Kids TV is not, it's still scripted, but not heavily scripted like Google Color. So I wanted to create a channel where it showed us being our natural selves, and I wanted to capture the moments of my kids genuinely being themselves, so that when we become older, we can look back and watch those videos and just have those memories. Because right now, I'm not old or anything like that, but I'm having a hard time a little bit remembering, Zariah's a little bit when he was a baby. We still got pictures, we got some video, but the kids are constantly changing. They're constantly changing. Their voices are changing. Their personalities are changing.
They're growing up so fast.
They're growing up so fast. And to be honest, I'm a little depressed. I'm grieving a little bit because my kids are constantly changing, and I'm not really used to change. I'm not really used to change, and my kids are constantly changing. It's a little depressing with me.
I don't want to say you're not used to change. You don't like change, drastic changes.
And the kids growing up, that's a drastic change for me. Even though they're still small, Zariah, for example, Zariah, he looks completely different compared to when he was 4. And he's 10, almost 11 years old.
He's getting that older look, definitely.
Right. And he's getting taller, so I just want to capture us being ourselves, so that when I become older, I can look back and watch those memories.
Yeah. I agree with it. Yeah. And I think it's just us being vulnerable. Not to mention, fans have constantly written to us emails, long, lengthy emails and messages. We want to see our day to day. We want to see your real life. We want to see the behind the scenes of everything. So I think that's what we are collectively trying to put together to show to you guys.
And we're not perfect, but that's the best part about it, because we're real people, and we're a young black couple, a young black family, and I do believe that we have value, and we want to be a beacon of light to other young couples or older couples that's raising a family, and pretty much just show you guys, what we're doing together as a family, as a young family, working together in our family business. So babe, we decided. When did we decide to do homeschooling? Because it's before COVID. Was it 1 year before COVID?
Yeah, it was a year before COVID.
So before 2020.
Yeah. So ZZ Kid or Zariah was already in regular school, And, we kind of bounced around the idea of homeschooling, but we were like, I don't know if we really want to take that on. And initially, my reasoning for homeschooling is safety. When Zariah was in school, we had random people coming up to us, knowing where we live, knowing what we do.
Teachers telling their neighbors that they got a famous YouTuber at the school.
Yes, people following us home, or at least attempting to follow us home.
So
it was just hectic for me. And that was just Zariah. That wasn't adding Xavier into the mix, who was getting ready to go into school. So, and Xavier is not, he's not very good with a lot of attention from people at one time. So he gets very overwhelmed, and I didn't want him to be so overwhelmed that he wouldn't be able to focus on school.
We wanted to control the narrative.
Yeah.
when it comes to teaching our sons. We want to control the narrative. We want to teach them actual factual history, that is not taught in school. We want to teach them business and all those great things when it comes to learning, but we want to control the narrative when it comes to teaching our boys. And I think it's very important that we do so, because we don't want them to grow up thinking things are a certain way when actually it's false. Like the things that we were taught in school, was very false. I remember, I think in 7th grade we had a history book, and there was a picture of a pharaoh on the history book, but the pharaoh he had blue eyes and blonde hair. He had blue eyes and blonde hair. So we want to control the narrative and teach our kids about business. Teach our kids, all those things that they might learn from school.
Life skills, trades,
all that.
Things that they can really use going out into the real world. Because a lot of the times, and I don't know if you felt like this, but when you were in school and you graduated, did you feel like all those years in school prepared you for being out in the real world?
To be honest, the things that I was taught in school, I'm not using it. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not using none of that stuff, to be honest. But like geometry and calculus, they teach a lot of meaningless information. We want to teach our kids the information that they need to propel not only themselves forward, but also propel our last name forward.
Yes.
So that's why we chose the kids to be at home
in homeschool.
So there's a segment in the intro where you see me in front of one of our rental properties because we buy houses, and it's very important for us to teach the kids to invest in their earnings so that they can continue to be, so we all continue to be our own boss, so we don't have to work for anyone. But more importantly, we don't want, I didn't want to take our earnings and misuse it. I didn't want to take our earnings that we receive for being on social media, YouTube, from my media business. I didn't want to misuse that money. So what we did was, I always wanted to be in real estate. When I was younger, I always wanted to be in real estate, to the point that being in real estate was a fantasy of mine. So I thought a person like myself would never actually reach those type of goals, because I thought you had to be super rich or you had to look some way to be in real estate. But now we're in real estate, and we're investing our properties. Investing our earnings, and it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you can keep. And not only how much you can keep, but how much you can grow. So place we want to remodel the townhome and turn it into a rental. We're building a family business so that we are not depending upon our media business.
Yes.
We want to have complete control of our financial life and financial stability, and real estate for us is that way. So we're teaching the sons, we're teaching the boys, how to invest in real estate. We're teaching the boys the importance of investing in real estate. and we want to bring you guys along the journey so you guys can, learn a couple of things and see how we are, growing our income and continuing our legacy within the Zontay family.
Yes. And creating that generational wealth.
The generational wealth, and that's very important. Closing that wealth gap. There's a huge wealth gap between us and other counterparts here in the United States.
Yeah.
So we want to close that wealth gap. We don't want to wish for someone to do something for us. We want to do it for ourselves. I'm not asking for reparations. I'm going to create my own reparation. I'm not asking for a 40-acre renewal. I'm going to create my own 40 acres in renewal plus some more. So.
Sorry, that was a word. Okay,
So that's what we're doing, and we're a young couple. We're young, and most of this information we got learning from the internet.
Yeah.
I learned more on the internet than I learned in school, to be honest.
Yes, that's very true. Very, very true. I mean, it's there for the taking and it's free. Why not?
Right.
So in the video, in the end, you will see towards the end, you see a picture with like an angel and some little baby feet, and you see like a gold kind of cube-shaped box. It's an urn, and that was a baby that we had before Zarias. So
our first son.
Yeah, so Zarias is technically what people consider to be like our rainbow baby. We had him and we named him Zontay. We like to keep him a part of everything because he is a part of us. Even though he's not here with us physically.
We had, the miscarriage happened, senior year in college?
Yes.
Ooh.
Well, it was a still birth. Yes.
Yeah.
So I had to go through all the motions and everything of actually giving birth. And
he was 5 months.
Yeah, I was 5 months pregnant. So I had to go through the whole motion, whole shebang.
And it was tough.
Very tough.
It was probably one of the hardest things that I went through.
12 hours of labor.
Going through the pregnancy and feeling my son in my wife's stomach and him kicking and we end up losing him.
Yeah. It was very tough, very rough moments.
So we keep him in everything that we do. So the Zontay family, he's named after our last name. And it's Zontay.
Yes. So that's why we included that within the picture, because he is us and we want him to be a part of us in everyday life just like he is. So we just wanted to share that with you guys. And
in the ending, you see us transform, sitting down in royalty chairs. What do you call them chairs?
Yeah, like royalty chairs, like a king and queen chair. Dressed in black.
And also the music that you hear playing, what was it, Over the Limit?
Yes, Over the Limit.
We're over the limit because before we were born, we already had limits placed on us.
Oh yeah.
Before we were born, we already had limits placed on us, statistics, and according to statistics, I thought we either dead, locked up, or in jail. But we surpassed that in so many ways, and we're over the limit, and we're not placing any type of limitations on us. No limitations, because we truly believe that the sky is limited. Forget the sky. I'm trying to go interstellar. I'm trying to go to the universe and beyond, because we can do that.
Yeah,
we can do that.
Just like all of y'all can do that.
That's right.
So, I think it's just that representation from where we were to where we are now,
and where we plan to go. Because one thing, I'm in my 30s, and one of the things that I truly learned in my 30s is I'm able to fully see my potential, and I'm not letting up. I'm not placing no limits on me. I'm not placing any type of limits on me. I'm not saying to myself that just because I'm black, I can't do these things, or because I'm young, I can't do certain things, or whatever the case may be. You know, I'm not placing any type of limits on myself or my family. You know, so we want to bring you guys on board with us as we take this journey to continue to uplift our family, uplift our community, as well as continue to build wealth for our last name. So that's the Zontay family.
That's the Zontay family.
So here's the intro one more time, baby. So there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed. We're gonna bring some more videos to you all. Anything you wanna say, man?
No. Not that I really have anything.
So
just be patient with us.
Yeah,
we plan on coming with some fire.
More content, for sure. So, peace, love, and hair grease.